Welcome back, everybody. So, turns out you can tally how long it would take, not to earn all the new things in Overwatch 2, but to earn the existing Overwatch skins and cosmetics. It's just a cheeky little 327 years of grinding. Now, I don't know about you, Matt, but this might be an issue for those of us with a vaguely normal human life expectancy.
Well, you know, this is about value, right? And this means I suppose you need to continue to buy battle passes, or you buy the Watchpoint pack, you download Overwatch 2, you install Overwatch 2, and look at that. There's like 7 generations of your family have a game to play. It's incredible.
Yeah, it really
is. This is the most value in any game ever.
It really is amazing. And yeah, you said that right, because it's not 327 years if you're always using the credits that you get to buy every second battle pass. So it's quite rough. And turns out, of course, a lot of these things you can just buy directly. And the total's over 10 grand USD. It's insane. So to dive into this story, here's a funny little thing. This is a post on competitive Overwatch from 2 years ago. And what's kind of funny is some of it was rather mocked at the time. Basically, it says, I really appreciate Overwatch's monetization model. With everything happening in Valorant, it makes me appreciate Overwatch. We played $60 one time. We got every hero, all other gameplay content immediately, and cosmetics unlocking at a very reasonable rate. They then talk about Riot's anti-consumer practices when it comes to Valorant cosmetics, and of course the hero unlocks, where, you know, it's about $10 a hero or grinding 3 hours a day for 2 weeks. Imagine if you were new to Overwatch and had to grind out heroes the same way. Haha. So it's just a funny little thing when we compare timeframes, because what a different position we are in right now. Overwatch obviously is the game that helped to normalize even loot boxes for everybody who was not used to FIFA Ultimate Team. And it was a strange little situation where loot boxes were kind of shitty and predatory. At least, though, there was a rate of reward over time that you actually got as a player as you leveled up and up and up and up. We all know that from Overwatch 1. But as Ellie Gould over at Tech Raider points out, now this is the thing that I just saw it and I just knew we have to talk about this. The free items from Overwatch are now locked behind a time gate and a paywall in Overwatch 2. And that's either 327 years of grinding, because you're able to earn 60 Overwatch coins per week by doing challenges. But I would note, that's often not by doing what you want to do.
Of course, it never is.
It may be playing anything in role queue. It may be doing arcade. Now, for a player like me, I'm not particularly interested in doing arcade. But if I wanted to get every second battle pass for free, then it would be encouraging me to do parts of the game that I don't enjoy to get currency. And we all know how extremely well established it is that is very dangerous, very bad for someone's intrinsic motivation. Yeah, and if you were to just buy all the things straight up, it's over $10,000.
Yeah, of course, you're not going to do whatever you want to get rewarded for it, because otherwise it wouldn't be work. And for some reason, the entire principle of monetization and reward design is about making you work for it. Because I think they learned a lesson in MMOs back in the day where people actually like virtual work, but then they've taken that to the absolute extreme with this. And this is just the frustrating part of it's $10,000 seems like nothing compared to 327 years. And you can see, based on that, you can see the principle involved pretty handy. Oh yeah, this is really hard to get through grinding, but you could just sink a couple $100 maybe like a year. So I think that's what kind of happened with me playing League of Legends back in the day. Because you're playing the game so constantly, you don't mind throwing a little bit of money in here and there. And it's like I often bring up is Andrew Wilson's quote about minutes engaged and money spent are, correlated on an almost one-to-one basis. So that's why it's such a turbo grind, because you'll grind and grind and grind and grind and grind, and then you'll be in there and you'll constantly drip money in. And then, obviously people aren't going to have the $10,000. Like the whole point is you're not supposed to get everything, right? That would be insane. It's the same way as you're not supposed to do everything in MMOs a lot of the time.
But in Overwatch 1, getting many of those skins, there are loads of Overwatch 1 players who played that game routinely who have got a shed load of skins worth many hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. but I do want to bring up one thing just because the $10,000 number was ringing in my head, and I was like, that sounds a little bit familiar. And that's what, is it Torolf Jernström? Was that his name?
Yeah.
That whole, this is basically the dark arts of mobile game thing that everyone took the piss out of years ago. And was he saying about you need like $1,000 IAPs possible, but ideally you want uncapped?
Yeah.
The point is, if there's $10,000 worth of product in your game, people will buy a lot of that over time. Because even like me saying I've spent probably upwards of 600 quid over League of Legends over like maybe 6 or 7 years. And that was, in terms of playtime to game, that was fine. But if they only had $500 of things worth to buy, I wouldn't have given that much money.
That's what makes it interesting. And again, the point is, this is not even counting the new things that will be added to the game. This is just the legacy skins. And to make you understand that, funny enough, Hard Drive do actually have a sub-label here where they do actual news. But I'm only here because they're actually showing the real screenshots from the game. So take a look at this, right? Every single one here where you can see this like little gold icon, that is 1900 Overwatch, Overwatch credits, which is like $19. So just for these, Diva skins, you're well over $100 there, right? Victory poses, those are $3. So everything from the original game is just being split up and just put on sale. As for these ones, I believe these are like more event skins, not 100% sure. I mean, obviously, some of those are appearing in bundles, as we've recently seen with the Halloween event. Take a look at Doomfist. There's a lot of optional purchases, or, of course, you could spend $2.50 for an epic skin. Right? Even for, Junker Queen, she is launching with, let's see, what's that? Like 2 skins that are $19, then a $10 epic skin, and all of these $3 rare skins. Right, so everything is being split up and sold to you, which, I mean, feels terrible, especially when this is using a currency that you are able to earn in-game, which means that it just feels like that extra bit bad because you know how much work it takes to get 60, and then you can see them charging 1900 or something. Now, the way that works for an account like mine, or yours, because we play the original game, is you do get original Overwatch credits, and those we can actually spend on those skins. But again, this is like how they are orchestrating the game for players going forward.
Yeah, and even then that that price works because people who have banked a lot of Overwatch credits and playing Overwatch a lot, they'll feel a little bit rewarded until they run out of Overwatch credits, and then they'll be like super deep in Overwatch 2 because they've been able to spend those over time. And that's just like, it's all technically reasonably sound in a small way, like logistically, but it's just the way the numbers are all balanced, it comes across feeling absolutely terrible. And that's one of the reasons why, because they're controlling both parts of the chain, right?
Yeah.
They can say, obviously they can't control the value of money, but they control the value of money relative to Overwatch coins. So they can go, hey, you earn so little a week that these things feel really expensive. But that means it's a lot of time. So you'll save a lot of time by putting money into the system. And that's kind of what they want. But it seems in this case, what they've done is they were too aggressive and it's kind of broken the chain for people where they go, oh, this is absurd. This is absurd. Oh, we see what you're doing. Yeah. And that's one of the things that's like frustrating about a lot of this where I think for a lot of us watching from the outside of like games, like looking at Diablo Immortal and thinking, well, that's absolutely horrendous and idiotic how aggressive this is monetized wise. We kind of go, well, that's stupid. But it's like I think there's certain points of aggressiveness that people kind of break free and go, hang on, I'm being played here.
Yeah.
And this is clearly, they're so like ungenerous with what they're giving to people that everyone just goes, oh, this is just a grift.
Yeah, it's like you're breaking the rules that even exist in the gacha world where it is expected that the developers will be decently generous with like bonuses and stuff like that. And even with Overwatch, it's just the point that stuff is so damn expensive anyway, right? Which then feels bad when people know that this is older content that's then been charged. So to go into it, yes, it is $10,226 US dollars, 8,800 pounds, just shy of 16 grand Aussie dollars. That's a hell of a lot of money. Roughly 100 Overwatch coins is $1 US. And then there's also things like, the bundles, right? There's that Kiriko bundle that is, that's $26, $22. That's a lot of money. You then look at all the Halloween stuff that's just appeared in the game. All of those bundles for all those old skins, divided up into a whole bunch of different bundles, and they're expensive, right? They are expensive. Now, if you were to get 517 loot boxes, that would be basically £186 to get every single item in Overwatch. Buying all of those through the legacy items store thingy will be more like 10 grand, a 4,600% increase. And it's the kind of thing like with the loot boxes, we'll get into it in a bit. They did have like a little bit of bad luck protection. They also had the fallback currency that you would get for dupes. They had rules surrounding dupes, which also were like generally more helpful to players. So
yeah, I think that was over time as well. It was like they improved the loot box system so it felt better and better.
But evidently, they improved it for players. They probably made it less whalable, and I imagine that's definitely played a role here.
Yeah, I mean, like that again. That's 185 and 83 to get every single item. That's nothing. Obviously, you're adding, you buy the game, so 220 quid overall, or 230. But that is absolutely nothing compared to what. I'll go back to my example of what I spent on League of Legends because that's there, and that's the whole thing where you can immediately see, which one has the higher cap on spending. Do that because we want wheels. We want to make money off the fact our game was a complete cultural phenomenon.
And on that, here's where it gets ridiculous. So this Pachimari Jinx 3D keychain costs $5 right? For this, you get a officially licensed physical item shipped to you.
Looks pretty nice and all.
Right?
It's a good design.
In game, that is 700 Overwatch credits. So the 500 or the lower, whatever the number is, amount of credits, you can't buy that. You have to buy the 1,000 credit bundle,
$10.
which is, minimum spend of $10 if you want to get that weapon charm.
Yeah.
When, I guess, like, purely, this is $5, whereas the in-game one is $7. And I know shipping could perhaps, come into this, obviously. But I think the point still stands that is absolutely insane.
Yeah, and that's where you think of this as a comparison, and it really starts to open your mind and going, hang on, why are things priced the way they are?
Yes.
Things are priced the way they are historically because someone goes and makes it, and there's a physical cost, and then there's labor cost into that, and you go, okay, sure, and then, if you're buying something at like say a convenience store, you've got, okay, well, the wholesaler makes a bit of money on it. The producer makes a bit of money, the wholesaler makes a bit of money, the store makes a bit of money, then there's VAT, whatever else, or whatever taxes. Okay, that makes sense, right? You're paying the money for the thing, usually. And people scrim a bit off. And then look at this digital thing and go, hang on, what exactly am I paying for? And that's a thing I think companies should be very, very, very careful about, because as soon as people start to think about what actually is the value for the thing you're paying, why am I paying this much money? Then it starts to get very, very, very easy to personally break out of the loop and go, all of this shit is worthless.
Yeah, Overwatch, I think, it's ending up just being a mass deprogramming of monetization instincts machine. Yeah. And to go into that, right, so we've got how this is particularly anti-player. It's that thing where players can compare what they had before to what they have now. This is something that Halo players have done with Infinite, of course, and its monetization. But here's just a post that I found in Reddit last night, all right? So, you do not get duplicate items in Overwatch 1 loot boxes until you get every unique item of this drop rarity. You get guaranteed legendary drop or 500G every 14 boxes. System was rigged in players' favor. Farm enough boxes, you'll get everything lucky or not. Now, also, you won't get duplicates of a certain rarity, but the chances of getting certain rarity items are not changed by what you own, so you will get many dupe, like whites and blues, where you get everything else. But point basically, significantly better. Loot boxes are still bad, by the way, but if you think about like an Overwatch loot box giving you 4 items, it's really funny that now it's $26 for... for this bundle,
yeah,
that includes a similar, number of items, just that. Well, I guess it means that they're basically saying, hey, that loot box that, like, you managed to get a legendary skin and, like, a few other things. Yeah, that's actually $26 of value, which to a lot of people just feels really, really, really silly. Now, it's the kind of thing where, the loot boxes, there's the gambling susceptibility, right? That was obviously an issue. The whole thing of Blizzard are selling you the chance of something, they're not selling you something, right? All of that felt pretty damn bad. But it still meant that your average player who did not engage in that monetization system at all was getting consistent rewards for playing the game. Now that only really exists if they have the premium battle pass. And the premium battle pass, may not have rewards that they want. Maybe it doesn't cover characters that they want. The free tier of the battle pass is pretty trash in terms of rewards. The whole thing is just this big old weird play for money for these skins that are extremely expensive. When you take a look here, I love this. I'm so glad that the For You section actually worked, and I totally don't get the goddamn Karate Doomfist 3 days in a row despite never touching Doomfist at all. So that's kind of funny. But again, this Just For You thing, this is obviously a bit of a clown at it being shit, but this does mean that they can custom generate and target bundles towards specific players based on what you've done. I mean, here's a bundle of 4 items for Wrecking Ball. It's just 2,100. Here's, Defenders of the Castle, right? That gives you the legendary Halloween skins for the opponents that you face in the Junkenstein stuff. And that's $44, 42% off.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing where, there's definitely something going on with how rapidly this game was kind of monetized again, I think. Because this stuff seems like it's profoundly not been tested against anyone who would give reasonable feedback in terms of the monetization, like the actual numbers involved. And then there's also, the fact that this For You section doesn't seem to work very well in terms of actually targeting what people want. Despite the fact, especially if you played Overwatch, this game has a lot of metrics on how you play, when you play, and what, heroes you play, and what game modes you play. They're literally there. You can look at them. So the fact that the game can't actually go, oh, you don't like Doomfist, let's not show you a Doomfist skin, that kind of brings to me a little bit of this is a wee bit suspect in terms of quality. Because you see a version of this that works really well. You see something like, the obvious example comes to me is not a store, but how the YouTube algorithm works really well, and you always have something you want to click. And you're like, how can you not do that with all of the metrics in the world? Even if it gets aggressive, it should just be, here's, you play these 3 heroes most, here's all the skins you don't have that are fit for the time, whatever. But they just don't do that.
Yeah. Now, there is something that's been looming over all of this. We've pointed it out in most of the videos that we've done, but it's comparing this to, say, Riot's games and their monetization. It's here's a post that appeared in the Reddit that I think encapsulates it pretty well. Basically, just the idea of look, I play Valorant as well, and for the first years of the game, I spent $0. I had no skins. The only way to get a skin for free is to grind 1 agent's contract for a pistol skin, or 1 pistol at the very end of grinding the battle pass. Compared to other games in the market, Overwatch 2 is giving so much more away. And so ultimately, this is an interesting thing. This is Blizzard changing the business model, and I think trying to change who the game is targeted at. More towards the people who would be used to playing a CSGO, a Valorant, a League of Legends, that kind of thing, for whom the purchasing of a skin is a bit more this is my one trick. This is the character that I am the best at, so I'm going to get a cool skin for it. Focusing in a lot more on that, rather than one of the, I think, modes of gameplay that really did feature quite heavily in Overwatch 1, which was the people who would just enjoy doing the various things you could do to get more of the loot boxes, to collect more of the skins, because they liked the characters, they played multiple characters. I know a few people who fall directly into this. Whenever a new event comes out, the thing they want to do is just go grind out that event for a while to try and get some skins. So it's just a different model that targets different people. It is lifted directly from other games. But the problem is people will compare what they had to what they're getting. And ultimately, Blizzard have got to live in reality, and that is the reality that they're living in, which means that in reality, Overwatch 2 feels shit.
Yeah, they literally just took the game that made everyone's brains all happy whenever they finished a level and got some stuff. They took that game and then they made it a different game. That's fair. gameplay wise. But then they also made it not light up their brains anymore with Happy, and made the game ask for more money, even though it's Overwatch 2.0 as opposed to Overwatch 2, because back in the day a sequel was a sequel. This is not a sequel. This is a very big patch.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that doesn't warrant it being paid for again to a lot of people, because the whole thing is it's supposed to be a live experience, and that's what the battle pass there for. They're going, why are you asking for like $20 for a skin when you used to ask for substantially less?
Yeah.
On the whole.
And it's a battle pass that doesn't pay for itself, which is very much unlike many other battle passes in many free-to-play games. So even on that side, it's worse.
But remember, they actually did. They misrepresented how much content was in the battle pass. They said 80 levels, but there's actually 120. Because if you finish 80 and get your mythic Genji skin, then you get a load of name tags for doing the next 40 or so levels. So that's more content.
Wow.
And it's definitely content. It's not just, here's some rewards we thought of that are literally text, because we haven't made anything else. Because everything else we make has to go in the store, because we need as much money as possible out of this video game. Which is, obviously they're making a free-to-play game. That's their right. But it's also highly stupid of them to not consider how players are actually going to feel moving from Overwatch and also coming in fresh versus other games. And that's the thing that's, I think, probably the most interesting, is this game is just ill-considered from that perspective.
Yes.
And that's full-on amateurish.
Yep, they have done things in complete isolation without an understanding that, unlike Valorant, they already have an audience. They're not launching a new game. The concept of price anchoring appears here as well, right? People are anchored with the expectations of Overwatch 1, so the more you try to pull them away from that, the more they will just feel that pull, and they'll feel it in a bad way. Now, the question is, could they course correct? Because Blizzard have actually, number one, said that this is an early access release, technically. So there is that. And also, they've been sending out surveys about monetization. Here's one from the Reddit. I got an email from Blizzard requesting I fill out a survey. It heavily touched on topics regarding the Battle Pass and Overwatch store. If you haven't already, please, be sure to fill it out. And it does seem that they're targeting different types of players with different things. One Redditor says they were contacted because they purchased the Watchpoint pack. The Gamer are reporting that people who resisted the urge to buy additional packs and skins have been invited to share their views. So take a look at your inbox for your Battle.net email. Maybe you've been given one as well.
I haven't got one, unfortunately.
You can perhaps let them know what you think.
Ooh. Yeah. But as we point out, of course, within reason. Good feedback and reasonable feedback and polite feedback is what doesn't get thrown in the bin immediately. I think that's one good thing to remember.
Yeah, so Blizzard, just please, come on. You've got to make this feel better for people, or else you will squander the promise of Overwatch 2, which is, as we have said before, at least in my opinion anyway, a fantastically fun game. The new Halloween event, its like little game mode, was fantastically fun. You could see a way where but the rewards for the new game mode are like really pants. Yeah. It's again one of those things of like you're squandering what incredible video game you have, and it just makes me worried. Like when PvE comes out, are we going to get PvE their original grand vision with a full campaign, loads of end game content? Like, is it going to be that, or is it going to be a small thing put out piecemeal with additional monetization? Because if it's the latter, then, that'll just complete the disappointment that is how this game has been designed from I suppose, an operational standpoint.
Yeah, so, what is the content? How will it feel? Does it feel like the content is being made for you, the player, to enjoy? Or is it going to feel like it's made for you, the player, to continue playing the game so they can monetize you further? And obviously, in any live game, and even in a lot of not live games these days, games that are just there for the sake of it, for a one-time purchase, their incentive is to make you play the game more. It always has been. It's always because people, we get into this kind of thing of, these games are products first, and that really annoys people, and it feels like you're being monetized, it doesn't feel like you're being respected. And that's basically a lot of it. Games haven't always been, it wasn't the case of they were always, absolutely player first. Because they want to make money. That's the goal of being in business, is to make money. And developers are always beholden to someone who wants to make money out of it. But the point is that it's supposed to be fair. It's supposed to be a reasonable, hey, you don't feel like you're being shafted. That's the experience people want. People don't want to log into a game and know I'm being shafted. They want like the kayfabe. They want the illusion of this game being made for them to play and have fun. And it's all about the minutia of how you make players feel. Because I think we've realized it's not really about reality, because we can say the same things about different games and, you know, it takes on an entirely different form based on how people feel about that. And this is where they've completely shit the bed with Overwatch 2 because of the transition from Overwatch. I was like, well, Overwatch felt like it was loot boxes long-term bad, awful. Short-term made players feel good. This game doesn't make players feel good. Will PvE make players feel good? Or will it be obviously just a way to make them feel bad to get more money out of them? And that's the thing of...
yeah.
They haven't got that right. And we're in this world now where players want to feel rewarded for playing video games. That's why things like achievements are getting, you know, a lot of, I mean, they always have been a little bit, I guess, focused on. But now you're getting more things like the PS5 kind of like trophy tracker. There is so much upfront when you hit the PS button during games, like, hey, go get the next trophy. Hey, here's a hint how to get it and stuff like that. Because people want those feelings. People want those feelings from the video games. And a thing that kind of happened last week or the week before is FF14 released a new bit of content with the Criterion dungeon, that's the variant dungeon. The variant dungeon gave a mount. People are like, oh, sweet, happy. Criterion dungeon, sweet, happy, give a mount. Obviously had to kind of grind it out a little bit with 20 runs or getting it randomly. But then the hardest difficulty version didn't give a mount. And people are like, this sucks. What sucks about it? The gameplay? No. What sucks about it is people did the hard thing and they didn't get a reward that felt right. And that's just... players feel bad. Stop making players feel bad. That's what all of this amounts to. You're literally... if people feel good, they'll be happy to give you their money. That's the whole thing Gacha is based on. Is it particularly nice? No. Is it particularly fair? No. Do players engage and go, well, you know, instead of buying 7 games, I've just put $1,000 into this. Well, you know what? At least I feel good about it. And this has filled that. Filled that in almost every reasonable capacity.
Yeah, it's just spectacularly ill-conceived. And that really, I mean, that really is it for today's video. So I guess, let me know what you think. What do you think is the best free-to-play monetization model out there? Like, of all of them, what's your number one? I have a feeling it's not going to be Overwatch 2. Anyway, that's it from us. See you next time.